Hi students, welcome to Alfo's e-learning chemistry classes for first year. The running chapter is stoichiometry and now we are in session number 2. In previous session just we are having an introduction to stoichiometry and what is stoichiometry and how we have to study the stoichiometry for different physical chapters we discussed just as an introduction part. And today let us continue with that one, and before continuing this topic just let us have a briefing on yesterday's discussion. It is nothing but stoichiometry is the part of chemistry that deals with the quantitative aspect. Quantity, nothing but amount. And just dear students, you remember quantity can be measured in terms of weight or mass or in terms of volume, and volume is considered only in case of gases, and masses are for all types of substances. And if you recall the previous session's content, there we discussed two aspects for chemical study. Nothing but one is the elemental atoms that present in the given substance, that is nothing but qualitative analysis. And we learned that when different elements are contributing the atoms for a substance, it is of different atoms when participate, it is creating different substances. And if the same elemental atoms are participating, even then depending on the number of atoms from each element, a different substance is also formed. Clear? And now all these, what are the elemental atoms present in the compound can be known from the molecular formula. Molecular formula is nothing but a representation with the symbols of the atoms of the element. Writing the substance is molecular formula. Just let me give, say for example, if we are considering water, literally what we can write water is like this, water. But chemically this can be represented as this water is having two elements. One is hydrogen and the other one is oxygen. That too, hydrogen is contributing two atoms for this compound, and hence we are writing this water as H2O, and this is known as molecular formula of water. And similarly, if it is ammonia literally we can write like this. And now this ammonia is of having the atoms from nitrogen and hydrogen, and from nitrogen one atom is contributed, and from hydrogen three atoms are contributed, that is nothing but NH3. And now let us go for one more. It is nothing but sodium carbonate. If this is the substance, in this sodium carbonate what elements are present? Just we know from this sodium, we are well aware of this name and we know that sodium is present. And now carbonate, we are not having any element with this name carbonate, but this carbonate is the name of a chemical species, and that is, it itself is having different elemental atoms in certain proportions. Let me write this. This sodium carbonate is having two sodium atoms. I am representing like this. And now when we write the formula, you are also well aware of that sodium atoms two present in the sodium carbonate, and carbonate is having one carbon and three oxygen atoms. So when the name is given, we are unable to find, just we can guess only from sodium we are able to get that sodium is present, but how many atoms present and what are the other elements present, we are unable to get from the name itself. But when the molecular formula is given, this is the compound given, irrespective whether the name is known to you or not, this is the compound given to you. Then simply you can say that in the given compound there are two sodium atoms and one carbon atom and three oxygen atoms. That is, and that too, one more, my dear students, one more, you will learn or you will know this formula only when you are well aware of the symbols of the elements. I hope that you learned all the symbols, at least up to 30 elements in your previous classes, from hydrogen to zinc. Clear? With this one, sodium Na represented, and carbon, oxygen. So when you are aware of the symbols of the elements, then only you can find which element is present in the given compound. Clear? Unless otherwise you are not having the idea about the symbol, then it is not possible to guess the elements which are present in this. Clear? And like this, in case if it is given as potassium dichromate, here also potassium, the name indicates, okay, we can guess somewhat potassium will present in that compound, but dichromate, that element is not there, that's why it is not possible to guess. But let me write one compound. This is K2Cr2O7. If any compound is represented with this formula, nothing but molecular formula. Now if you are aware of these symbols for which elements, simply you can say that K representing potassium. So in the given compound, 2 potassium atoms present. Cr, it is a representation or symbol for chromium. So with this formula you can guess that in the given compound there are 2 chromium atoms, and O already we know it is oxygen. So in this compound 7 oxygen atoms are present. Clear? This is potassium dichromate formula. And how to write this formula, all it will covered in the coming sessions. That what you are going to learn in stoichiometry. Simply you need not worry about that. And now coming to this, so when we are of having the molecular formula, and if we are aware of the symbols of the elements, just we can guess which elements are present in that molecule of the compound, which elemental atoms are present, and altogether that molecular formula also indicate how many such elemental atoms are present in the molecule. It is also known, but here only the presence of different elements, that is which elements are present in the given compound from its molecular formula, knowing that is nothing but qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis already we discussed about in previous session. Even then, as a briefing, to have highest grip, already yesterday when we are discussing, I told you that we should have thorough idea about the concepts. When you are keen with all these concepts, then only it is possible to apply that concept in a speed manner. That's why I am giving this. Clear? This is qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis is nothing but identifying the elements which are present in the compound. That much. Identifying the elements. Here hydrogen, oxygen present, it is quality. Here nitrogen and hydrogen present, it is quality. And then sodium, carbon, oxygen is also present, it is nothing but qualitative analysis. And in this one, potassium, chromium, oxygen, all these are present, it is also qualitative analysis. And now coming to how much of hydrogen is with how much of oxygen, quantity, that quantity is converted here as the numbers. Clear? Here also how much of nitrogen, simply by observing this formula we can say one atom is with 3 hydrogens. Clear? And this 3 hydrogen is having the relation with the amount, or else we can simply write for all the elements where hydrogen present as H. But here why we are considering 2, that is related to amount that can react with certain amount of oxygen. Here also why we are considering 3 hydrogens, because it is related to the amount. So with certain amount of nitrogen, certain amount of hydrogen. Here also sodium, carbon, oxygen, qualitative analysis. But sodium 2 atoms present, the 2 atoms related to amount. Carbon 1 atom related to amount. Oxygen 3 atoms related to amount. Here also like that similarly. Now that amount relation study is nothing but quantitative analysis. That is nothing but quantitative analysis. Quantity is nothing but amount, and that amount can be measured. In general, we are having the amount in terms of masses, in terms of volumes, or even in terms of number of atoms. Number of atoms is quantity related, and the atom from which element it is coming is qualitative related. Clear? And now this stoichiometry, our chapter is stoichiometry, and now this stoichiometry is nothing but the study of quantitative relations among different elemental atoms that combine to form a compound, or among the different compounds that combine to give a new product. In all these cases, that is nothing but simply we can say that in chemical reactions the quantitative relations are studied under the head stoichiometry. And as we know, stoichiometry is based on law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass. And now already we know, we studied in previous session. Just let me make you to recollect the definition. What is law of conservation of mass? It is just simple. When a chemical reaction is happened, the sum of masses of all the reactants before the reaction is equal to the sum of masses of all the products formed after the reaction. Let us consider, just in previous session what we considered is H2 on reaction O2 giving H2O. It is water representation. And now when these two are reacting, how much amount can react with how much amount, and how much amount of water will appear. Here law of conservation of mass is the sum of these two masses should be equal to the sum of the product masses. That is law of conservation of mass. Now the total stoichiometry depends on that law of conservation of mass. And now the next question is where we can apply this stoichiometry. Just you remember, stoichiometry is applicable only for stoichiometric equations. Stoichiometric equations. Just up to this yesterday we discussed, is it not? So now stoichiometric equations. What are stoichiometric equations? Just simply, if you observe, here we are considering two hydrogen atoms, here also two hydrogen atoms, so both sides same number, no problem at all. But here oxygen is two atoms, this side only one atom. Clear? How to balance this? Is it possible to balance by writing 2 here itself like this? No. Why? Because when we are already in previous session we discussed that when the elements present in the compound change, compound will lead to a new product, and when the same elements when participate, if their number is varied, it also leads to a new product. Here also H2O is water. If to balance this oxygen, if you are writing like this H2O2, it is not water now, it is hydrogen peroxide, a new product, a new compound. But here when these two react, we are not assuming that hydrogen peroxide is formed, its formation is different. So here only water will form, and then when we know that only water is formed, then how to balance this? Just you remember, for any atoms, when you tend to balance the atoms, then you have to consider the coefficient instead of subscript. Now to balance this oxygen we are taking 2 as coefficient because 2 oxygen atoms to be balanced. Clear? And now after balancing this, if you observe again, now even oxygen is balanced, hydrogens are 4 here, but in this case we are taking only 2 hydrogens. Then how to balance? Again, to consider this we should not write H4 because H4 is not existing, it doesn't exist, and thereby how to balance? Again, just now we discussed, to balance the atoms we have to consider the coefficient. So to get 4 hydrogens, here we can multiply with 2. In such a case, now 4 hydrogens, here they are separately present as molecules, and here they are in combination with oxygen. Clear? And now 2 oxygens. Actually it is nothing but this one, what we are considering as coefficient means it is nothing but hydrogen molecule plus hydrogen molecule. That means two hydrogen molecules will form. That is the meaning of 2. Now 2 here, 2 here, 1 here, 1 here, the total is balanced. This type of equation where the number of atoms of any element on reactant side is equal to the number of atoms present on product side for all the elements, then the reaction is said to be balanced equation. That equation is said to be balanced equation. And now stoichiometric equations are nothing but balanced equations. Again I am repeating, stoichiometric equations are nothing but balanced equation. As we know, stoichiometry is applicable only for stoichiometric equations. Then the question is, what is stoichiometric equation? It is nothing but just a balanced chemical equation. And you remember, this is represented, or it is balanced by taking the coefficient like this. Instead, you can also balance like this: H2 when O2 giving H2O. Instead of taking coefficient 2 here, when oxygen is present, you should not balance because oxygen O is not existing. So its existing form you have to consider. Why they are existing like that, we will learn in coming sessions. Clear? Now oxygen always exists as O2. It is a diatomic molecule. 2 atoms should present in its molecule. So like that it is existing. And now how to balance? So in this case you can consider O2 is providing 2 atoms. But here only 1 atom we require in the product. Then you can take half O2. When one molecule provides 2 atoms, half molecule will provide 1 atom. Simply you can write like that. But you should represent for one oxygen atom, you should represent like this. But you should not write O. O is a symbol for oxygen, but oxygen is never existing in atomic form in general under normal condition. Clear? So in this manner also you can balance the equation. And now when it is balanced, now it is also considered as stoichiometric equation. Clear? A balanced chemical equation, simply you can consider like this: a balanced chemical equation is stoichiometric equation, and stoichiometry is applicable only for stoichiometric equations. Clear? And now actually stoichiometry, it is related to quantity. Quantity, it is nothing but amounts. Now the question is how these quantities or amounts are measured. Just you remember, the quantities that are present, that are from this symbol representation, the quantities we have to assume, and the quantities that involve in a stoichiometric equation are known as stoichiometric amounts. You remember, stoichiometric amounts. Just you remember, stoichiometric equation is nothing but a balanced chemical equation. And now for different reactants and products, the amounts that are involved, not the quality, here it is quantity. The amounts that are involved in a stoichiometric equation in the reactants and product side are known as stoichiometric amounts. Simply you can say that the stoichiometric equation quantities are measured in stoichiometric amounts. Clear? And now how to measure the stoichiometric amounts? How to measure that stoichiometric? By definition we are saying that it is nothing but stoichiometric amount when the amount is involved in stoichiometric equation. But how to measure? That leads to these stoichiometric amounts are measured in terms of atomic weights or molecular weights. Just you remember, atomic weights or molecular weights, these are the terms used for the stoichiometric amounts. Atomic weights or molecular weights. So stoichiometric equation amounts are related with stoichiometric amounts are measured with atomic weights or molecular weights. Our stoichiometry now in this session is going to cover what is atomic weight, what is molecular weight. First, let us discuss the simple relation between these two. Simply, molecular weight is nothing but the sum of atomic weights of all the atoms present in that molecule. Again, I am repeating, molecular weight is nothing but the sum of the atomic weights of all the elemental atoms present in that molecule. Say for example, in this case, if we are considering oxygen, for your reference, let me give oxygen atomic weight I know, and you are also going to learn it. Atomic weight is 8. Sorry, oxygen atomic weight, atomic number is 8, atomic weight is 16. And now, in case if they asked for oxygen molecular weight, just you can observe how many oxygen atoms present in this molecule? 2. So each atom weight is 16, then 2 atoms weight is 16 plus 16, nothing but 32. And similarly, if the same elemental atoms present, it is nothing but the multiple of atomic weight with the atomicity. Now let us consider this water. Water, it is of having 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atoms. Now how to measure the molecular weight? From this molecular formula, already we know molecular formula indicates different elements, atoms present in the molecule, and also the number of such elemental atoms present in the molecule, is it not? And now in this case, when H2O, hydrogen, for your convenience sake, let me give hydrogen atomic weight is taken as 1.008, almost it is equal to 1. Now when hydrogen is atomic weight is 1 and oxygen atomic weight already just now we know 16. Now how to measure the molecular weight of water? Just try to solve this one. Simply you can answer, because here hydrogen atoms are atomic weight is 1 and such atoms are present 2 in number. So totally hydrogen is 2 plus oxygen atom, 1 atom is present, each one that oxygen atom atomic weight is 16 into 1. Simply you need not write this one, that's why 2 plus 16, that is 18 is the molecular weight of water. I think now you are well aware of calculating the molecular weights. Just when the compound is given, when any compound is given, when they are asked for the molecular weight, just you have to consider the atomic weights of all the elemental atoms. The sum of that elemental atom atomic weights is nothing but molecular weight. Clear? And now, but here the concept required some more additional information. It is nothing but you can measure the molecular weight as the sum of the atomic weights of all the atoms involved in the molecule. No doubt at all. But how to measure that atomic weight? How you know that atomic weight? That is what we have to consider, what we have to remember. Because we know how to measure the atomic weights, all these methods to measure the atomic weights we will learn. But it is not at all possible to do all these experiments regularly to find the given elemental atomic weight. Clear? That's why even though we are going to learn how the atomic weight has been decided, or how the atomic weight has been determined, but for the convenience sake, for the numerical solvations, we have to consider, that is, so for solving the numericals we have to consider, or you have to remember some elements like that, nothing but what in your lower classes already I think you by hearted the elements and their symbols in a similar manner, and their atomic numbers also. In a similar manner, now you have to memorize, or you have to remember the atomic weights of the few elements, and thereby from that atomic weights you can calculate the molecular weights of the molecules. Clear? And for that purpose, and if you are knowing all these, in coming session I will provide a few elements and their atomic weights. Now let us discuss about what is atomic weight, how it is measured. Once if it is atomic weight is measured, simply in one way we can calculate the molecular weight, is it not? or directly we can apply the same process to measure the molecular weights also. Altogether, how to measure that atomic weight, let us see. Atomic weight. Atomic weight. Actually, for any element, the atom is invisible. We can't visualize. It is of having very minute mass, almost all negligible mass. But even then, when it is having very minute, almost negligible mass, we are able to measure its atomic weight. How it is possible? Because this atomic weight is a relative mass. You remember, a relative mass. What is the relative mass? Relative mass is nothing but the mass of an element or any object is compared with a known mass of the other object. Say for example, for your convenience sake, let me give our regular daily life examples. Say for example, if we are purchasing 1 kg sugar, how we can decide whether the given from merchant, if we are purchasing 1 kg sugar, if they are giving certain quantity as 1 kg, is it acceptable? No, you are not accepting. Just you are asking him to wait and weigh it and show it whether it is 1 kg or not. There, not now. Just imagine in previous methods, traditional methods. Now it is electronic method. It is different. But in previous method, what they did in measuring these weights, simply they are taking one iron stone on one balance. It is one iron stone. If you recollect this, on that one it is written as 1 kg. On the other side, they are keeping the whatever we are asking, that will be kept in the other side. This is, it is of balancing, and we are getting the weight equal to this 1 kg weight stone. This 1 kg weight stone equal to this weight, the weight whatever we are getting, either it may be sugar, it may be rice, it may be vegetable, like that, a relative, it is considered, it is taken as a standard unit. And you know which is the standard of this 1 kg, how we can decide this 1 kg as standard unit? It is universally accepted. In Paris, iridium stone is there. Iridium stone, and that any mass of object which is equal to this iridium stone in Paris, it is taken as 1 kg. Clear? And now when compared to this, it is standardized. It is standardized and universally it is accepted. And now we are considering, that means it is not nature, it is not predetermined, it is determined by human beings, just to consider the masses, relative masses. All the masses are relative masses, just you remember. And now when this 1 kg stone, that is the background, we need not worry, only to make you to know what is behind for 1 kg stone, how it is prepared. For that purpose I am giving this information. Actually it is not relevant to this. And now when 1 kg stone, we decide when relative to this how much is given, it is 1 kg. Now if the given object is 2 times to this stone, 2 times in mass to this stone, then what is the quantity? Simply we can say that it is 2 kg. If it is 10 times to this stone, that means when we are keeping all these 10 kg stones, that means it is 10 times the weight of this, then it is known as 10 kg. Like that, relative to a fixed mass, a fixed object, we are measuring the weights of the objects. That is called relative mass. I think now you are well aware of this relative mass. Relativity comparison. When we are comparing with any other known mass object, simply with that known mass, if we are measuring the amounts of the given object or given substance, it is known as a relative mass. Clear? And now for our daily life object or groceries, we are using this 1 kg stone and parts of the 1 kg stone, or it is nothing but weights and masses related. Clear? And now in a similar manner, In a similar manner, when the atomic weights and molecular weights are relative masses, similar to one case, here also we are having a fixed unit to compare the masses of the atoms and molecules. That unit is atomic mass unit. Simply you can consider it as AMU, atomic mass unit. This is the fixed quantity or the fixed amount for which we are using to compare or to measure the masses of the substances, or simply here it is masses of the atoms. If we are comparing atoms, simply it is nothing but when 1 kg stone, it can be used not only for the sugar, the same stone can also be used to measure the mass of the rice, vegetable, or some other, is it not? Similarly, this is AMU is the basic unit, and with reference to this, if we are measuring the weights of atoms, atomic weight we can get, and with reference to this, if we are measuring the molecular weights, masses, then it will provide molecular weights. Just that's all. And now AMU. What is AMU? As we know the story of KZ stone, it is nothing but iridium stone present in Paris. Here what is the story for AMU? Different trials are kept. Ultimately what AMU is, 1/12 part of carbon 12 isotope. Carbon 12 isotope is taken as 1 AMU. So this 1/12 part of carbon 12 isotope is fixed as the basic unit to measure the atomic weights or molecular weights. And that 1/12 part of carbon 12 isotope is known as atomic mass unit, which is useful for measuring the masses of the atoms or the molecules. Clear? And now our question is, okay sir, when it is AMU, 1/12 part of carbon 12 isotope, how we know in our regular practice units like grams or kgs? Just when 1/12 part of carbon 12 isotope mass in grams is observed, it is equal to 1.67 into 10 to the power of minus 24 grams. That's why we are unable to measure the atomic weights. This 1/12 part is 10 to the power of minus 24, almost negligible. But from that is nothing imaginary calculations, we are making it as 1.67 in 10 to the power of minus 24 grams. This is the mass of 1/12 part of carbon 12 isotope, that is taken as atomic mass unit. Are you following all this? Just you remember this value, and where this value has been acquired, it is nothing but from carbon 12 isotope. From that carbon 12 isotope, 1/12 part of the carbon 12 isotope atom is known as AMU, atomic mass unit. Its value in grams is 1.67 in 10 to the power of minus 24 grams. Clear? And now once we fix this AMU, simply now we are coming to the regular topic, just how we can measure the atomic weight. Atomic weight is nothing but, just you follow this one. Atomic weight is nothing but the number of times of the given atom, or if the selected atom is heavier than 1/12 part of carbon 12 isotope, that is atomic weight. Simple. When we are comparing any object, any substance with 1 kg stone, how many times it is heavier, that much of mass it is. If it is 2 times heavier, 2 kgs, 3 times heavier, 3 kgs, like that. Here also this is taken as unit, that is 1/12 part of carbon 12 isotope is taken as unit to measure the atomic masses. And here we are comparing this, any atom when compared to this 1/12 part of carbon 12 isotope, how many times it is heavier. If it is 1 time heavier, its atomic weight is 1 AMU, because AMU and this 1/12 part carbon 12 is same. And if it is 16 times heavier, then it is 16 AMU. If it is 30 times heavier, 30 AMU. Like that, the number of times one atom of the given element is heavier than this 1/12th part of carbon-12 isotope, nothing but AMU, is known as its atomic weight. Are you clear with this one? AMU is the fixed amount or fixed defined amount for which is used to measure the atomic masses of the any element given. And how we are fixing this value? Where we are getting that value? Just we are getting that from carbon-12 isotope, where 1/12th part of carbon-12 isotope atom is taken as AMU. If we require in our regular used units grams, what is the amount? Is 1.67 in 10 to the power of minus 24 grams. This is this one, this one. So all these are same. If we are considering AMU, that means 1 AMU in grams. Simply the answer is 1.67 in 10 to the power of minus 24 grams. What is 1 AMU? It is nothing but 1/12th part of carbon-12 isotope, like that. Clear? Now we are aware of AMU. And now in coming sessions, how we are going to use this AMU in measuring the atomic weights and in measuring the molecular weights, all we will discuss in coming sessions. Clear?